Aimee.
Hey.
Welcome to my newly changed channel. It's still 3 Degrees of Love, but it was Three
Hmm.
Degrees of Love Divination, and now I recently changed it to 3 Degrees of Love Healing Tarot. So,
Hmm.
welcome, Aimee. Thank you so much for being here. This is
Thank you for
Aimee. You
having
all
me.
know her as Push Kitty on YouTube, Instagram, and whatever other social media. If you haven't seen my latest very chatty, like I had to split it in two because it was like 3 hours long. Review and unboxing this girl's latest deck called, well, it's not even the latest one because I think we was it Twisted Monsters. That's probably even more newer than this now. Um, the Mental Monsters Tarot and Guidebook. And absolutely amazing. And I'm so happy that I finally get a chance to actually put a face to the name and actually get to speak with you in person. And thank you so much for joining me. So we had already started talking before I hit record, and we were
Hmm.
really getting into it, some like
Oh yeah,
juicy
the
talking and
meat and
about what,
potatoes.
right, in regards to spirituality, religion, how we view society and the world and our place in it, and just what to me, and as I'm learning, Aimee sees it the same way, who we really are at our very core and why we're here, and that idea of love being the highest vibration, the highest frequency that, we should all be aiming to operate from. But trauma and the crap that we, endure in this plane really honestly takes away from that. And it's like from the moment we're born, we're fighting programming, we're fighting control, we're fighting everything and anything out there, right? And then it's like, who are we at the end of it all, you know?
Hmm.
And some of us get to wake up and seek and have better understanding, and others will just continue to walk blindly through life, creating further chaos. And it's like, okay, well, you want to cause destruction, then you could do that over there, not near me, because this is
Okay.
the sanctuary. I'm moving and operating in right with divine love and integrity and understanding and respect and open and honesty and truth.
Hmm. Hmm.
Truth,
Yep.
right? So yeah, and so this is why I'm so excited for this, and to talk to you, get to know you, and just like I want to understand more about you and how Push Kitty came to be. Let's start there. Let's
Yeah.
start there because
So
you
first,
started off with the little Buddha tarot, and
uh,
okay, you go on, girl, because yes, I need to know it all.
yes, ma'am. So first of all, I want to say I'm very happy to meet you as well. I know I've told you this before, but I find your presence to be just incredibly warm. And I think that that's difficult to do, especially with someone who's as intelligent as yourself, that clearly you have a level of awareness that is above average in my opinion. And I would even say factually, I could probably prove this with facts, but hey. So I do want to say that, and I just think you're incredible. I'm a fan of yours and your energy. And so to your question, how Push Kitty came about, I it's interesting because Push Kitty actually started like when I created the name, the brand Push Kitty, or at least that original name. it started off as a clothing line because I was into, well, I'm still into fashion, but at the time I wanted to create clothing, and I started to dabble in it a bit, and then I went through this like social situation with like I don't want to get too much into it, but basically a situation where I felt that I shouldn't continue with Push Kitty in the clothing realm. And so I just dropped the idea. I've always been a creator, so I always want to create something, whether it's clothes, it's art, it's books, it's this, it's that. I want to create that. I'm a creator. That's what I'm here to do. I feel is my purpose or one of many, but a part of my purpose is to create, and it's also like an outlet for me. Like when I create things, I feel like it's a form of therapy where, I'll experience things, and it's a part of my healing where I transmute some of my experiences, positive or negative, and kind of transmute them into tools for success and reclaiming power and understanding self-worth, and how that journey kind of unfolds for my life as I continue to live on, through from now until the end of my days, you know. And
Mhm.
so yeah. And yeah, I would say that's where Push Kitty started, just from the want and need and desire and calling, essentially, just to create.
I love that. And it's the way that you what really grasped me is the way that you spoke about creating as a form of therapy. And it's like, is it, like that whole idea of art therapy, like as soon as you said that, I was like, art therapy comes to mind. People use things like dance, theater, all kinds of things to, right? Because it's another way. And as we were speaking earlier, and I was telling you even about my therapy work and the understanding our emotions. And I feel like that's what having like a creative outlet also does, right? And um it's like we all learn, we all process things differently. Some people need to talk it out, some people need to build things, some people write, and then some people paint or draw or whatever. It's how we process our emotions, right? And
Hmm.
it's understanding our emotions at a deeper level and why they're there. It's also, there's something that I've spoken about on my channel a few times where I was there's a guy's name is Shirzad Shamain, and he created positive intelligence, and he talks about
Hmm.
saboteurs. There's an assessment that you can do as well, and it's to understand the parts of self that sabotage us from our full potential. What creates them? Trauma,
Hmm.
right? So you have the judge. I call mine Judgy McJudgerson.
Hmm.
Right? It's that we all have it. We all have that judge, that how it's that level of authority within ourselves that we use to judge ourselves and other people. Whether we find ourselves measuring up to what is the considered the ideal persona or whatever you want to call it. Um,
Hmm.
and how we and so understanding where that judge comes from, what fueled that judge, what created that judge. And I've even had where I was part of a group where we had to explore the judge aspect of self, and if we were and try to draw it. So what would that
Hmm.
look like for you? And for
Hmm.
everyone, it can be different, right? Um, I remember when I did it, the first thing I did was cry because I said to myself, I can't draw this. Because to me, the judge, how I was seeing it in my mind's eye was just a big blob. And it was
Hmm.
a blob of darkness. All of the things that people have ever said to me, or, in regards to, I wasn't good enough, or the way that I did this, or this was wrong, or whatever. And over
I'm
time,
so
those
glad you said
voices,
that. I got to get this out.
yeah,
So
go
when
ahead.
you said that, right, the judge and like drawing it out, the first thing that came to my mind was a big fat X. And then you went on to talk about
The
the
big
things that
blob.
people say you can't do, you know? That's judgment in of itself, limitation. When you try
Yeah.
to put someone in a box and limit what they can and can't do or define them in a particular phase that they're in that moment, it not only limits the person, it doesn't limit the person, actually. It's up to the person to decide whether they internalize someone else's judgment on them or even their own. But then it also limits the person who's passing judgment because your imagination is one, poor. You're poor in imagination. And number two, if you're truly operating from a space of love, you don't pass judgment because all you can think about is a solution. From love, you can always think of how something can improve and have that hope and have that resilience and say, well, no, if this happens, then this person can. And then the I can't just kind of just dissolves and it's always just I can. Even when you have setbacks, right? Like because everyone
Hmm.
has moments where they have setbacks and they start to let that inner saboteur gets louder. Sometimes the voice gets louder when you're in spaces of vulnerability. Everyone experiences vulnerability, and it takes courage to embrace it and to still operate, especially when you have like a fear of being seen. That's a whole other rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I do find that judgment. I'm glad that you spoke about that because I've had to learn a lot about it. Even in the past, when I would pass judgment on myself, it made it easier for me to pass judgment on others. But when you go inward and you learn how not to judge yourself, you then learn how to not judge others and realize that everything is just temporary. This is just a temporary phase, and maybe someday this person may grow and shed. And that's why I like the symbolism of snakes because you can shed this part of you and then transform into something bigger and better.
Hmm. It's
But
true.
yes.
And
Hmm.
it's funny that you use that analogy because isn't that what we do as human beings? Think about it. When we're born, we're a certain size and we have growing pains. We shed the baby persona as we grow older because we're now a toddler. We're now in our adolescence. Then we become the adult, right? And we continue to grow and shed and shed. But the things that we
Hmm.
learn along the way as we've been shedding, we keep those. We use them as fuel for understanding and how we process and operate and see things, right? And
Hmm.
and the more, I think it and I think that's where now this is see, that's how my brain works. Piggy wants to jump down a different rabbit hole right now, like right away, like because I just got triggered into the idea of, you know, so many ideas. Now I just lost what I was about to say.
Do you have a notepad?
I do, and I have been writing stuff down.
Yeah,
But
that's my thing. I jot like the whole time we've been talking, anytime my mind wants to jump off somewhere else, I write down what I'm thinking and then I'll just revisit it later and try to like unpack. Girl,
And
I'll
the
be
thing is,
trying.
I do try to do that, but the problem
Mhm,
is sometimes my brain moves way too fast, and the more
mhm.
excited I am, the worse it can be because it's like I can't catch the damn piggy because it just moves so fast, and it's like,
Yeah, I love your piggy analogy.
well, right? Like, well, I've run into a lot of people who don't like it, and they're just like, it sounds like you're disassociating, and it's like, actually, it's actually quite the opposite.
When you say that, when you just said that when people try to they don't like it and they try to like diagnose or psychoanalyze, that brings me to something I wrote down when you were talking. And specifically outlets, right? Like when we talk about different people's outlets, some people like to dance, some people like to draw,
Yes,
and things
yes,
and such. And it all boils down to charging, because an outlet is what, right? It's electricity that you need to charge a device in order for that device to turn on.
yes.
Basic, just for it to turn on. That's not functioning. That's not the quality of how it functions once it's on. That's just like basic usability, right? So
Hmm.
when we need to charge ourselves and we have our outlets for charging ourselves, I think of that as like replenishment for the will to continue living. Because a lot of times people don't people who don't have outlets, everyone has one outlet or another, and there are healthy forms and there are not healthy forms. There's addictions and you know things and such and alcoholism, and then you have the people who are addicted to like work and you know or addicted to creating, overthinking. You know, there are many different things and it's all about moderation. But at the end of the day, everyone is just trying to survive. So this is like a basic like survival tactic. And you know,
Yes,
how it gets cut and how it shapes, it's different and shaped by like life experiences and all the things. And then as
yes.
far as the diagnostic aspect of it that you were speaking about, that makes me think of assessments, right? And it's funny because I've been dabbling in creating assessments. There are like several different assessments and like projects that I'm working on in like the social psychology field. And then I'm like, I've developed like a whole social psychology theory and I'm trying to figure out how to roll that out. But that's like separate from like my normal creation that I usually do. And it's a lot more intellectual. So it's just like finding how to like nail that down. But ultimately when you diagnose something, it's because you're trying to give it a name, right? So someone might say, "Oh, well, you're disassociating," right? They're diagnosing you, giving you a name for something. But it's like, okay, once you have that name, it's like, and then what? So you've named the thing that you believe I'm experiencing or that I believe I'm experiencing. It's like, okay, and then what? And for me, I'm like an action oriented person. So anytime I get to that point where it's like, okay, I found this name of this thing, the next thing I have to do is like something about it. Because I'm not the type of person that's just gonna go out calling names and then don't have a solution. Like if you're gonna
Hmm.
call the thing out, you need to have be at least, in my mind, you should be at least thinking about how you can contribute to improving the thing that you're giving a name to. So I just hope that when people go diagnosing and throwing things around, throwing out, you know, labels and things, that they at least offer some perspective as far as improving, you know, the thing.
And half the time, no. And I mean, it's like, right, right. It's just like, or it's like suddenly they think they believe that they become an expert. How? Because you have one experience with, a person being a certain way. That doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it's like now trying to take a blanket and throwing it on and expecting to cover every single person. We come in all different shapes and sizes and whatnot. That one blanket you think is gonna throw that you could throw because it fits one person, it ain't gonna doesn't mean it's gonna fit me, or doesn't mean it's gonna fit that next person, because we're all different. And the
Hmm.
greatest thing in understanding about existence is that everything has a place within existence. It's not one or the other. It's this and that.
The
And
nuance.
maybe
There's so
that
much
too.
nuance.
You know what I mean? But
Yep.
you see, the neurotypical society likes to just put everything in either or category. It don't work
Black
like
and
that.
white. Yep. 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 It's so funny. I wore a gray sweater because I was thinking about just like how just nuance. Like gray, I'm into color. And gray for me just represents nuance, like the gray area, the in between, the
Mm-hmm.
okay, and this and that, or like the multifacetedness, and then also it being in between black and white. You mix black and white and you get gray. You get gray. And then there's like a gazillion shades of gray. You know, you might have a lot of black with a little bit of white, or a lot of white with a little bit of black, but it's still gray.
Don't even
And you
get me
got on a
started
gray
on the
sweater
50
too. That's
shades
so
of gray.
funny.
What?
I just realized that you have on a gray sweater too. Is your
I
sweater
was
gray?
about to tell you that. Yeah, I was like, I'm wearing gray too, girl. I'm wearing gray too.
Yeah.
Don't forget about that.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Black, white, and gray, you know?
But here's what I noticed. So, okay, so hold up a second because you have a gray sweater on. It is a darker gray than I am, but you also
Mhm.
have yellow writing on, I see, right?
Yeah, it
Okay,
says adore you.
yellow and
And
black. Okay,
my
I have
best friend got
on
me
a
this
lighter
sweater.
gray sweater, and I have turquoise and white writing
Mhm.
on mine. I have a black shirt on. You have a white shirt on. You have black frame glasses on, and I have more of a whiter, light skin.
Here's my little black cat hair
Oh,
tie.
right? So
Yeah,
listen, girls,
it's
we
duality.
same wavelength. We kind of doing a
We
matching
here.
opposite yin and
Yeah.
yang type of energy, kind of something going on, you know?
Yeah, we're definitely aligned.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And actually, speaking of alignment, because now I want to, as I know that piggy never came back, so I have no idea what I was saying before and I totally lost it, and that
Oh,
piggy
it's
never came
fine.
back. So, but anyway, this will be fun to watch back on editing. I'm
Hmm.
so sure. But speaking of alignment, because you started talking, I want to know more about your whole background on like psychology and how did you get into tarot and all of that fun stuff. Because when you started talking about your side projects and stuff, and even when you know, like when I my very chatty walkthrough that I had to split into two parts about your deck, the brilliance of how when I was going through it and the even the keywords or the diagnosis that you were putting towards each card, I found to be very, yeah, like on point. Like it was like, and and it almost, not almost, it actually, what I felt was like, this is so in alignment with what I've started to do and combining therapy and tarot. This to me was like, this was what I had in mind. The you know, the vision of where I saw the idea of taking therapy and combining that with tarot. Um, this deck it was just proof of that. Like I feel like that's exactly what, and even not even that, but even your trauma oracle, and that's the one thing too that I've been admiring for quite some time, and I'm actually a little disappointed in myself that it's not in my collection yet. But it's like, yeah. So now all I can think about
Don't be
now is like,
disappointed.
what's that?
I when you said disappointed, I'm terrible. So for me, anytime I hear languages like when you say you're disappointed that you don't have it in your collection, I am like part of me is flattered, but then the empathetic side of me, because I have like extreme empathy. I'm a Cancer girl, Cancer sun, Pisces moon. I'm a water baby for real. So I just in
Okay.
my mind, I'm like, don't be disappointed. It's okay. It's timeless and you don't need it. And if you really want it, you can work with it anytime. And there's no clock and there's a lot going on and all the things. So I'm sorry, continue.
Okay, so here's the understanding too, because I'm the, sometimes even the way that I use words and language and stuff like that too. I also now I bear in mind that as I say that too, and I understand my emotions and piggies. They can be dramatic at times, okay? And I very
Yeah.
much so it's like pouty piggy standing there. I don't have that deck yet in the court of my brain. I don't have that deck. Okay, calm down, piggy. Like you know that you're gonna get the deck at some point in time. We'll have it. Just relax. Like,
It's so
but
cute.
yeah. So that was like disappointing piggy that just came out and I just had to pout. Disappointed. I don't have the deck yet. Not really. Just
Mhm.
it's like
Like a passing emotion. I'm like that too. And I'm also I find that even me having those thoughts where it's like, well, no, no, no. It's a part of being like it makes me think of the Empress card with
yes.
just like that caregiving and just like giving. Get like I'm such a giver. So I have to like also continue on my journey and learning how to just pause and let things be without feeling like, oh no, 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 oh no, no, no. Like I'm managing all the things and things that I can't control, essentially.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm learning that too, girl. I'm learning that too.
girl,
Trust me. I am
we
learning
fight in
that
the good
too.
fight.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, so getting more back into because again, how did you connecting, like I'm saying, the therapy and the tarot, I feel like that's why I feel like it's so on point. So how did
Hmm.
you get into like what is your background? How did you get into uh, tarot and then combining that with the psychology and all of that? Yeah. Explain yourself. What are
Yeah,
you?
I got you. So I'm just writing down, I've been writing down the questions. So how I got into so how I got into tarot. So starting off with my background, when I went to college, I went to college for sociology. And at the time, I wanted to be a juvenile parole officer because I felt like first of all, I'm from the Bronx, born and raised in the Bronx. Um, that was that environment, or at least my experience of that environment was it was a lot. There was a lot of survival elements. I will say being a product of that environment. So just throwing that out there, boom, your girl's from the Bronx, for real. And my mom from the Bronx, my dad's from the Bronx, my grandma's from the Bronx. Like we Bronx, New York, you know what I'm saying? People. And I don't know what reputation the Bronx has like in your mind. And it's probably neither here nor there. But I'm a first generation college student. My family is mostly poor. You know, I was the first person with my last name to earn a college degree. So, like, when I graduated from college and got my BA in sociology, graduated with honors, I was the only person with the last name Burgos in my family to have a bachelor's degree. So it was like, okay, I done hit the ceiling of my tribe of people, my people, and my family's from Puerto Rico, and so there's like that whole background of the Taino and the indigenous people, and then being being a product of a mixture of like indigenous people, and then like African people, and then like Caucasian people. It's like a melting pot of all the things,
A beautiful mix,
and
girl. It's a beautiful mix.
thank you.
It's a beautiful mix.
It's layered, and then there's a lot of depth, and then me having to find what that means to me as far as like the meaning of my life and what I and who I was, and my life experience. And so I've always been competitive intellectually. Like I remember when I was in first grade, there was a boy and me and him used to compete about who was the smartest. And he was like really good at math and I was like really good at writing. Yeah, okay, we're gonna see who gets the best grade on this test. We're gonna see who gets the higher grade in this class. I was like super competitive when it came to um, intellect and knowledge. I never liked, until this day, I don't like to be ill-informed. And, I've learned how to not speak when I am ill-informed and to be more curious and inquisitive and ask questions. And that has shaped my love of learning, I think, in a way that makes it more effective for me to create usable tools. So that's one thing. And then from learning about sociology, I've always just felt like human behavior was so interesting because it's nuanced. It's so much nuance and it's so much gray areas and there's no one size fits all. But one thing that is extremely telling is patterns. We are people of pattern. Animals are people of pattern. A pattern will tell you more than words could ever say. And at the end of the day, one day you may feel this way, one day you may feel that way, but the pattern is like a culmination of time and it tells a story. And so when I thought about my career and what I would do moving forward, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a juvenile parole officer because at the time I've always been connected to my inner child as well. Like I love cartoons. I still watch cartoons. I love anime. It's probably like my favorite thing to watch. I have like this I really enjoy just like non-human art. Like I'm not really drawn to decks where the decks are like human people. If you notice, a lot of Push Kitty decks this gonna be the art style. You know, I don't think I've made any decks with like real live human people. They may be humanoid but they're going to be cartoonish in some way, you know.
Yeah,
So
I
so
think
that's
the
my thing.
closest I would think the
Mhm.
closest I had that you've had to human is a little Buddha tarot with a little Buddha. And I know this
Yeah.
because it's based
Yep.
off your son.
Yep. Yep. And also that was my
And I
first
always thought
deck.
was the sweetest thing, which is also why I fell in love with the deck from the get-go. When I first heard that, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
so yeah.
yeah, and it was the birth of create. Like I became a mother and then that's the creative aspect and then that was like my it was also like a birth as well to where it's like okay I'm a mother but I don't want my entire identity to just be you're a mother. I'm Amy and then I'm also a mother. I
Mhm.
think like as a mother a lot of times a lot of women start to that become their identity where it's like oh I'm a mother like you'll see it in their bio mother of mother of three or and I had to think of myself like okay my purpose is still mine aside from what I create
Mhm.
and then my creations will then go live on and have their own lives and their own identities and their own experiences and people will experience them so it boils down to like intention in that regard and that's a good
Girl, you're
segue
building a
into
legacy. That's what you're doing. You're
yeah.
just building a legacy.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying, your girl is trying. But that was a good segue into like how I got into tarot. So that was more personal, I want to say, and accidental because I was going through my spiritual awakening when I got into tarot. And it had a lot to do with religion because I was Christian at the time and I was experiencing a monumental tsunami of cognitive dissonance. And I'm like, wait, this all of this is a veil. All of this is a lie. This is a lie. This is a lie. That lie. They lying about this. They lying about that. These people got me believing that I'm here to worship a man. I'm here to like my whole existence is to be a helpmate to a man. Like what we doing? Ain't no way. I'm like, look, ain't no way that's my purpose because it doesn't feel good. Straight up, it don't feel good. I'm trying my hardest to make it feel good, and I'm trying my hardest to obey and be in fear of God when like my actual experience with God is warm. God loves me. I know God loves me. So why am I forcing this shoe to fit me when I don't have to wear it? I left religion and God still loves me, you know? But at that moment, it there I was still trapped in the fear-based construct of religion, and that if you leave this, you're blasphemous, you're going to hell, you're a witch, you're getting burned at the stake, you're demonic, you're this, you worship the devil, you're like all the ignorance, because that's what it is, straight up.
Hmm. Hmm.
You gotta keep it real. It's
Yeah.
ignorance because those are the people who are too afraid to even learn about the truth, because the Bible will tell you to lean not on your own understanding, which is kind of conditioning people to have an external locus of control when I have an internal locus of control. And so
Hmm.
that was another reason why being Christian and being religious started to conflict with with my with my true existence, was because you're trying to condition me and program me to have an external locus of control, and my soul is fighting against this, and it's killing me. Like I thought I was going to
Hmm.
die at one point, just from sheer like a lot of people don't survive ego deaths, and that cognitive dissonance, and then then also being shunned from the village, because most people, especially in this country, are Christian. So it's like when you raise your hand and ask a question, that hey, don't ask no questions. That you see this book right here? That you no questions for you. Who are you to ask a question? And so with tarot, I found that it was more introspective, which I'm all about, because I feel like with introspection, you learn how to not outsource your happiness, your validation, your worth. And just being honest, when you're religious, it teaches you how to outsource everything. So when you don't have these things, you're left with nothing. And then it's like, okay, well, who am I then? If I'm nothing without all these things, without all these people, without all these groups, external groups, and
Hmm.
so that's why I love tarot. But how I got onto it was so funny. So I was in the library. I'm a nerd, okay? I love, like, Barnes and Noble is like a romantic place for me, you know? I'm gonna I'm gonna go to Barnes and Noble and I'm gonna be there for hours. I'm gonna be there for hours. So I'm gonna have to make sure I have money for Starbucks. I don't know if I'm gonna leave with a book, a new game, a board game, something Harry Potter, a Funko Pop, a bookmark. Like it has everything I need. They got snacks, they got drinks. I love like a Barnes and Noble day. Oh girl, we gonna find a table, or I'm gonna go sit on the floor in the metaphysical section. Then I'm gonna go to the kids section. I'm gonna look at the kids books. I love Barnes and Nobles down. So I was in Barnes and Noble, and I was just browsing around. I'm just walking around, looking at all the books, and then I was walking past the spiritual section, and I was just getting pulled in that direction. Like, hey, go that way. And I'm looking. I'm like, wait, it's dark down that way. I don't know about, I ain't never been down that way before. That particular aisle was more narrow. Like the way the bookstore was set up, for some reason, that aisle was more narrow than all the other aisles. And I'm like, okay. So I go down there, I'm looking, and I see books, divination, this, all these things. And at that time, I had already accepted that I was, and this was very early in my spiritual journey. So it pains me to say this, but I accepted that I was the darkness that the Bible was speaking of because it is what it is. The shoe's not fitting. So hey, I'm accepting this label, this diagnosis that this book is giving me. And I look and I see in my first ever deck was the Alice deck. It was I forget who the creator of that Alice deck was, but it's the mass market one. Should
You
I
talking
go
about
get
by
it?
US Games?
I
It,
believe. Let me.
in the little one in the tin?
No, it was a big box one.
Oh, by Llewellyn, then probably.
That's the one.
By
That's the
Barbara
one.
Moore, probably.
That Barbara Moore. Let me see. Let me
I
just
have a
make sure
feeling.
because I want to make sure I credit this properly because it was a monumental moment in my journey. Let me see. I got my computer here, so but yeah, this Alice deck. And I've always liked Alice because of the Mad Hatter. I love the Mad Hatter. I just like the quirky, kooky characters a lot of times
Mhm.
in anything that I watch, because I think they're humorous and they're expressive and they have a lot of courage, essentially, to me, because they're so much different. Like they're the black sheeps. I always like the black sheep. I always think the black sheep is like the cool one. But yeah, so I bought it. I was like, this art looks cool. I I'm like somewhat afraid of this object, but I'm just get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna buy it, whatever. I bought it. I took it home. I opened the thing. I'm looking at the art. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I look at the book. I don't know anything about tarot. I don't know what the cards mean. I know nothing at that point. I just knew that this thing was calling to me, and the art. I like art. It's arting. The art is arting. I'm getting it. So boom. I start to do research. The first thing I'm gonna do is research when I don't know something. So I'm looking up the tarot, the meaning of the tarot, the history, and I just do. I'm like, okay, I'm shuffling, I'm pulling cards. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm looking in the book, I'm reading the meaning of the card. And then I was like, this is introspective. This is therapeutic. I always remember after spending time doing readings with myself, I always felt better. I felt better going out of the reading than I did going in. So I'm like, okay, at that time, I'm just trying to cope with my reality shifting. And I was coping and I was doing that by going inward. And so I just kept doing that. And yeah, that's how I got into tarot. That was the intro.
That is an amazing story, let me tell you. And I giggled through a lot of it because especially when he started talking about Barnes and Noble, I was like, girl, I'm in Canada, so we don't have Barnes and Noble, but we do have something called Indigo Chapters. And
Uh-huh.
we also our store that's very much like Barnes and Noble. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was paradise for me. I used to go there and I would spend like I would sometimes go there like especially too when I was going through a lot of the stuff and I burnt out and then lost my job and had a lot of time on my hands. Girl, I would sometimes go there in the morning because the mornings were quiet. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like there at 11. Why am I leaving there at like 5 o'clock in the evening? Moseying around all of chapters in
Ooh,
in Rizal,
girl.
going to because we got Starbucks too connected to the same bookstore too. Listen,
Oh,
it's like it was like the Canadian version of Barnes and Nobles. Okay, so Starbucks was another frequent. So what you were telling your story, and my inner self and all the peas are like, oh my god, thing, and everybody's like totally screaming and like and just having a riot because I'm like, girl, I'm skipping in my head. I'm skipping you doing dying through the bookstore from my past
mm-hmm.
trips. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
as you're talking, I'm there. Like,
Yes. It's so funny you say that too because I find that Barnes and Nobles, I think of it as a portal, especially when you mention that loss of time, or like it's not a loss, it's spending. Because
Yes.
time is like a currency. And I didn't lose that time. I spent it. It was money well spent. Okay? Money well spent up in Barnes and Noble. You know what I'm saying?
It was
So
too much money well spent because I was
yeah.
always coming out with something too. Let me.
Yep. And when you think about it too, it's like a portal because it's taking you somewhere that you can like explore your curiosity, essentially, you know? So it's just a happy place. And life is short. So like what am I gonna do? Where would I rather be? In church? No, ma'am. I'm going to Barcelona. You know what
Barnes and
I'm
Noble is church in a
saying?
certain
Shoot.
degree. Okay, listen, shoot.
Look, and then they passing around the hat like, ma'am, I'm
So okay, let me break it down my way and how I broke it out the glass ceiling from Christianity. Okay, and
yeah.
I worked at a Christian bookstore. Well, it's okay. This
Hmm.
was the portal that broke the camel's back. Okay, that broke the glass ceiling for me. Not to say from an early age I wasn't already questioning it because I was first born baptized Catholic, okay, and then
Hmm.
but I had all the different denominations within my family: Jehovah's Witness, Baptist, Seventh Day Adventist, Pentecostal, you name it, cha cha cha, and everybody had their own opinion on the thing. But the worst was when I I started going to church with my grandmother on my dad's side after I first had my first communion. I'd moved to live with my dad, and then I started going to a Pentecostal church where you now like serious Pentecostal, no jewelry, you can't wear wigs, you're not supposed to perm your hair, your skirt
Are you
have to
are
be
you
a certain.
Caribbean?
Oh yeah, my family is Trinidad and Tobago. So yeah.
Oh, I heard the accent from, look, I heard that maternal voice and that accent came out. Yeah.
But here's
Yeah,
what's funny,
Kia,
okay?
where
Everybody loves to make fun of me because the thing is, I am Canadian born and raised, okay?
hmm
But my family is from the Caribbean. So, and I've been, raised and listening to them all speak my whole life. So every so often when I get comfortable and depending on what it is I'm talking about, my own version of the accent comes out. And some people say, okay, some people think it's like, okay, well, it's like you mash up all the islands because it's like, it doesn't sound quite Trini. It doesn't sound quite Grenadian. It doesn't sound quite Jamaican. It's somehow, and then who tell me to go and marry a Guyanese man? Jesus Lord. So that made it even worse.
my best friend's Jamaican, so, you know.
So
I
I
love
grew
I love Caribbean culture.
And I grew up in the our Canadian version of the hood, Scarborough. So in
Hmm
Scarborough in Toronto, you've got all the Caribbeans, all the islands that all commingle with one another and whatever. So my accent when it does come on is a mashup of all of that
hmm
somehow. So
Mush it up.
yes, I just mash it up. But yeah, before we got off track about how I talk.
No,
Oh,
you're
yes,
fine.
I was
So
saying how
the
I broke
glass
the glass
ceiling.
ceiling,
Yes.
right? On Christianity. So, anyways, so I was volunteering at this Christian bookstore, and of course, see, like I already, like I said, I already questioned things from an early age. Going to church and then going to church with my grandmother, Pentecostal church, and then listening to the pastor preaching. Now, remember, we're all according to religion, we are all God's children. God is love, right? Okay. So just because we all have there's the different denominations. Why? Okay. I'm born Catholic and I go into a Pentecostal church. Why the pastor they're preaching and saying, oh, but the Catholic people them and how they pray to Mary and they da 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 da
The
da.
contradictions. The contradictions.
But you're supposed to be a holy man. And isn't Catholic? so part of Christianity and they're holy too. So why is one holy one bashing another holy? That make no sense to me.
The judgment,
And
the
then
judgment, girl.
finding myself, okay, don't even get me started on when I finally went down the rabbit hole of tarot. People get to know I
Mm.
read tarot. You read tarot?
Hmm. Ooh.
Ooh. Okay. But here's the thing. Trolling, what's that? Oh, and we think I'm gonna melt? What do you think this is? The Wizard of Oz? Like, what am I, the wicked? Listen. So anyway, so then after, but the hypocrisy, the way people behave, they call themselves Christian, but this one backstabbing this one committing adultery with this done the don't, but they, huh?
Hypocrites.
And you call what? That's what I was like. No, this is no star. This is the devil is all up in that. But then the thing is the so-called devil, but it's really how if God is love and we are God's children, then we are fractals of God. We are mirrors of each other. And if the kingdom of God is within us, hello, no, no, it doesn't matter that so we're all part of the larger whole. So then it occurred to me, oh, so you have Buddhism, Hinduism.
Hmm.
Oh, and plus then I have a book that divvies up all the different religions. You know, Hinduism is one of the oldest ones. Christianity is a baby in comparison. So where do Christian
Hmm.
and then the Christianity is all ego based. So then I was like, you see that, and then, oh, if you don't go to church, you're not gonna make it into heaven. Who said? God didn't say that. God didn't say that. Okay. So it was like, like, and these are what I would hear from people. People would say to me, and then I was like, okay, I can't do this. I know God is love, and I act from a place of love. That's my religion, foot front and center.
That's how you
Everything
stay
else is just,
grounded.
everything else is just that's in a nutshell how I came to be. So, but now I realize I find myself I'm somehow stuck in the middle because even when I look at the tarot community, they're just as corrupt as I was like, I was like, but it's really, but it's see that's the thing. It's because it's all about the individual self, how we respond, our choices, what changes us and mutates us is the trauma that we experience and the different categories we fall into, right? So that's where my brain started going all these different rabbit holes, and it was like suddenly I'm zooming out and I'm seeing the full picture, and then it's like in my mind's eye, I'm sitting in the clouds, they're sitting there chilling with God, looking down at all the crazies and all the weirdos, including myself. I'm part of the chaos because I'm still a human, right? So I'm like, oh, now I understand all the idiocracy that's going on. Oh, okay, now it's like I get it. It was like, this is a trial. Oh, okay. So there's really no the idea of heaven and hell. Well, no, there's not really. Technically, this is hell, and we're all trying to survive it. Like at least that's how I started to look at things, right? And I was like,
Hmm.
interesting. Oh, so we're down here all trying to, and and that whole idea of as above and so below. Oh, that's a universal thing. That's not just tarot. That's a universal thing. If we're bringing the kingdom of God is within us and we're bringing it down to earth, it means as we perceive, we are creating it. So believing is seeing, not seeing is believing. You have to believe it first to see it. And that's when it also too I started to look at scripture differently now. Because then I started reading my Bible again and then recognizing, because I worked in a Christian bookstore, so of course I have how many different translations of the same word, but depending on the translation, the meaning changes. Oh, and then so when people say the Bible is word, it's God's word. Oh, okay, really? You know, the Bible wasn't originally written in English, right? It's been translated over thousands of years for multiple times. So the meaning is in flux, anyways. So you have to do your
Lost
due
in translation.
diligence to figure that out. So it's about now. So I look at the Bible the same way I look at tarot. They are tools of divinity, and it's up to us to be able to decipher it. That's why now when I look at 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to verse 13, and I said verse 4 to verse 13 specifically because I always remembered it from verse 4 to verse 8, and I used to recite that all the time. It wasn't until my dad passed, then for some reason I felt the call to put that on his program on the back. But I wanted the full, something said, ask for the full version. And then when I did, the funeral home gave me back the template of what the, and when I read it, I started to cry because it was like there was a part of it now that I never read before, and I'm reading it and I'm understanding it. The whole
Mhm.
understanding of our existence from birth to adulthood. It's about learning and understanding ourselves to the complete form,
Awareness.
right? And so, and there's that, and specifically this one part, and I do talk about it when I was going over your deck, and I said the part about it's after what is it goes, for we know in part and we prophesy in part. So meaning that we have a deeper awareness, and if we really are paying attention, slowing down, the understanding of who we are and where our origins, we know it when we learn about ourselves. We know it as we, right? There's a certain level of knowing, but then we prophecy in part. So the idea we speak, even what we speak, we manifest as well, right? Then understanding, so then, um, but then it says, but when completedness comes, what is in part disappears. Well, yes. When completedness comes, when we are fully in knowing of who we are, what was in part no longer exists because we're complete. And then, right? So then, and you remember when we were talking and you had mentioned the snake, and I think that's also where my brain started to fly off, and piggies were like, and I lost my train of thought. But this was the part when you were talking about the snake, right? So here
Mhm.
it says, when I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. But when I became, now it says man here. I changed that to adult because,
Girl.
right? Okay.
Mhm.
So adult, when I became an adult, I put the ways of childhood behind me. What does that mean? Understanding, oh, the ways of childhood, so the juvenile way of thinking, the, oh, I'm the center of the universe, like the child mind that knows no danger, doesn't have accountability, doesn't, that sense of um you know um patience or understanding of self in the presence of other people, like that kind of way. To me, it's like now when you become an adult, you understand that it's not just about you, it's about all of us, and we have all our different parts that we play as individuals, right? To me, that's where that understanding comes in. But what happens when there's childhood trauma? And the parts of ourselves that were um you know traumatized. We ended up in trauma response patterns, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, right? The behaviors that come into that, that becomes part of the programming, part of the systems that then gets, um, what's the word? Etched into our DNA, if you will. It etched into a cultural system as we develop, as you know, we recycle ourselves and generate, you know, new versions of ourselves, our children, our the ancestors, right? And then that's what brings us sort of brings us down further away from the full understanding of the whole, because now we're stuck in the trauma response and the patterns of trauma that we were created for us maybe at an early age. So that's when I started to now understand my journey a little bit more, understanding that, oh, so from the age of 3, 4, as an empath, as a neurodivergent, not knowing those things about myself, because how could you at that age, right? And unless that's taught to you by those that are your adults and they're teaching you, right? But what about if they don't know? So how could they teach you if they didn't know, right? So then it's like repeating the same unknowing pattern over and over. But then realizing, okay, but at an early age, you know, being a child from broken home where there's you know, abuse, um separation, possibly divorce, things like that, right? That sort of shapes who you are. So I became sort of, you know, my trauma response was fawning, people pleasing, you know, always being the giver and then trying to manage or being forced to manage the emotions of the adults in my life. So at an early age, I was put into the role to process adult feelings from an early age. I was adultified at an early age from 3 in regards to managing emotions of others, neglecting the emotions of myself because I didn't know any better. The adults in my life should have known better to do better, but they were repeating patterns from their upbringing too. So of course not. So then
Maybe they
being
didn't have the
parented,
awareness and
exactly,
they
right?
didn't do the work to pass it on to, you know, the generational curses and things.
Exactly. That it takes the cycle breakers that come into this world that do the changing and the elimination of these patterns. We taking our sledgehammers and our swords and, you know
Breaking
what
stuff, breaking stuff, you
I mean?
know?
Yeah. So after years of triangulation, no wonder why my child self rides shotgun, because I've had to be an adult from an early age. So now, as I'm an adult, well, I left the child ways of childhood behind me, but since I was a child, now I'm reclaiming that side of myself. I'm reclaiming that side of it, but in a healthy fashion, not childish, not the world revolves around me, right? But understanding my place within it and understanding my place wholly as I am, fully in my truth as part of the larger whole, right? So now the part that goes, for now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. See why mirror work is so important, right?
Hmm.
Then we shall see face to face. This is why at the end of my videos I always say, I am love, and so are you. When I look at myself in the mirror and can see my humanity, you're damn skippy that when I look out in the world, I'm seeing the humanity in everyone else too. So you're operating from that level of respect and integrity.
That's it.
right? That's it. The kingdom of God is within you. Done. Over.
It's funny because when like now when you do all the take all the because it's an investment. So when you invest in the quality of your spirit and your soul and your legacy, it puts you in a place where you sit back and you say, well, dang, this was obvious. It was right in front of my face all this time. And
Mm-hmm.
why couldn't I see it then? What's the difference between then and now? It's like now I'm
And you were
okay
asleep,
with,
girl. You were asleep.
and
The
and
world
it's
had
be
you asleep.
yeah, and also that fear. Like when your back is against the wall, you get to a point where it's like, look, do your worst. Look, I'm already here. Do your worst. What else do you have for me at this point, you know? It makes me
Mm-hmm.
think of have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Girl. Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
Speaking of which, have you seen K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yes, I have. I loved it. I loved it. But I like Avatar is
Okay,
like
so I
one
need to
of
go. I need to watch that.
it
The Last
that
Airbender, right?
yes, it's a
Good.
cartoon, but
Yeah.
it is perhaps
Actually, I think they released a live version of it too, not that
I
long ago.
recommend.
But I
Yeah,
will
it
watch the
look, it's your
cartoon.
choice. It's your choice which which direction you decide to go.
I will
I
watch
haven't
both of them.
the live action to me is a translated version of the cartoon. The cartoon's the original,
Okay, so
so
I will
that's
be
the
watching yeah, I
so
will be
the
watching the one you
antagonist
recommend.
or the original antagonist, his name is Zuko. And the way it's set up in elements. So there's four nations. There's the Fire Nation, the Water Nation, the Air Nation, and or the Air Nomads, and then the Earth or the Earth Kingdom. So that's how it is, right? And then the Avatar is the one being on the planet that has the ability to bend all four elements. So the Avatar
Okay.
will be born in a particular nation, and then they will come to know that they are the Avatar. And there's only one ever at a time. It's a reincarnation, and every time you're reincarnated, you go to the next nation in the same order all the time. So if you know the current avatar is a firebender or an airbender, you know the next one is going to be a waterbender, period. So then people know to look in the water nation for the next avatar. So in the original show, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Aang is the main character. He's the avatar, and he's like a child. And he was like trapped in an iceberg for a gazillion years. And then, it's a long story. I don't want to spoil it for you. It's great. But there's this part of the story where Zuko, the main antagonist, he was trying to find himself. He came from the Fire Nation, the evil Fire Nation. And there was a dictator at the time, which was his father, and he suffered from child abuse and being exiled and all these things, and he was like chasing the avatar to like hunt him down and like unalive him and all the things. And there's this
Hmm.
one point when he was broken down, like he literally had nothing, and he's screaming in the middle of a storm, like it's like thunderstorming, and he's like, just do your worst. You've already done everything you could, and it's just like, just do it. And that was like a monumental part of his journey, and where he kind of like shifted from being a part of the evil, nation into like going toward the light or the shadow. So
Hmm.
I love Zuko. You're gonna hate him at first if you watch it. You're gonna hate him at first, but
I'm going to be I'm going to be watching it. Yeah, it's
it dabbles
and
into
so
everything
and this
too.
is what fascinates me too about art as well
Hmm.
because it's like diving into a lot of these movies and stuff like that. I'm like, we've been teaching ourselves our existence the entire time. If you slow down long enough to actually pay attention, it's in everything we absorb. I was
Hmm.
like, so I'm listening to you talk about The Last Airbender, and I'm like, why does that giving me the Fifth Element vibes?
It's deeply spiritual. It goes into the like the spirit realm and chakras and all the things. And you have the air nomads, they're monks. So it has
Listen, that
like
is
that.
right up my alley, so trust me. That
Yeah,
I will
it has like
probably
the
be texting you.
religious
I'll probably be
aspects.
messaging you later and saying, "Oh my God,
Oh, girl, I could talk about it all day. Please do. I would love
yeah,
to.
I
We
will.
can nerd
I'll
out
be
about
messaging you
Avatar: The
while I
Last
watch it."
Airbender. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Like I'm a Harry
Okay,
Potter fan and I like Avatar more. And it's difficult for me to
okay,
like things more than Harry Potter because I love the whole artistry behind Harry Potter and like the world, that J.K. Rowling was able to build. But
yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is like top notch. Probably the number one best thing I've ever watched. Um, I can't think of anything better, so I'm just gonna give it. I'm gonna give it to Avatar.
Okay,
It's
okay,
good. Yeah, girl, you will be
okay. So,
crying, girl. Look, and there's grief. Oh my God, the grief scene. Like I sob. I rewatched it like several times, and even now that I know it's coming, I still sob. Like I'm talking full blown bawling watching
wow,
the leaves from the vine scene every
wow.
time. It's great. Complete cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I was like, yeah, I'm just like my whole inner child is like, we found ourselves a best friend. We found ourselves a new best friend.
Yeah. Girl, yeah, girl. Yeah. Look, I will nerd out with you, okay?
Oh,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
awesome. I love that. I love that. But yeah, I think what you have created is super amazing. Like I said, so I want to know where because you were saying that you have some side quests and side projects going on, and again, them being more, psychology based. I like I want to know what more we can expect from Push Kitty because what I've already I already have a part of my collection, and that even what I've seen that you already have that you've created, like I'm just like, what next? What next am I gonna, faint and and fall all over because she had to come out with something new, like all of
That's
these
so
creators are like,
sweet.
I can't keep up, damn
Yeah, look, everyone is doing great work. I think that what to expect next is definitely expansion. So some things I can't share yet because I have to like document it first
Yes.
in a way that like makes it mine or like protects the IP in a way. But I definitely want to make more Oracle decks because I love tarot. Don't get me wrong. Love it. I have like five, six decks just complete. All the art is done. It's just sitting there. Like I have like tarot decks on decks, themes on themes, and um.
Wow.
But I think as far as like the projects that are more psychology based, I think another outlet for me is Oracle decks because I have a lot of ideas for them, like, emotional Oracle decks that talk about color and like personifying. Like, hi, my name is Empathy. I tend to do X, Y, and Z. I experience the world like this and I view things like that. People misunderstand me in this way. These are my fears. These are things that I need to work on. And just kind of like speaking and personifying certain concepts in a way that people can kind of ground themselves in what the thing is to
I
like
love that.
overcome it, you know?
I
So
love
so
that.
that's a big project that I'm working on. Thank you. So and there's a lot of different directions that, I have to nail it down because like you with the piggies, right? Like my piggies are like, "Oh, you can go this way, you can go that way, you can go that way. And then I have to like grab the reins and be like, okay, we're gonna do this. This is where we're gonna start. At least let's start. And then where we
Yeah,
go from there is like we'll figure it out later. We don't need all the answers right now, you know, because
yeah,
that's something that I struggle with too. Is like I'm like a perfectionist, and I like to cover all my bases and plan ahead. And you know that's why it took me so long to get the Monster Guidebook out because the Mental Monsters Tarot has evolved. Like I had to change all like 90% of the keywords at one point because oh yeah, and this brings me back to one of the notes I wrote down. At first, the Mental Monsters deck was extremely diagnostic. I'm talking about phobias, pyromanias,
oh
all
wow.
sorts of yeah, it was a lot more clinical. And then I had to sit back and say, okay, well, Aimee, you're not a doctor. So you're not qualified to diagnose people. You're not a doctor yet. If you want to earn a doctorate, you can do that. And then when you get there, assess where you know your ideas and your understanding of this may change at that time. So give yourself the opportunity to grow in that aspect and to earn that accolade before you speak from that perspective. And so when I pull it back, I had to edit the whole guidebook because I had like specific journal prompts for each card. But then when you have a specific journal prompt, you point someone in a direction. And so I had
Mhm.
renamed the journal prompt section to holding this card with the intention of encouraging readers to sit in that energy without having to decide what to do with the energy at that moment, where to compartmentalize it or where to place it or which direction to go in. Sometimes you doing nothing is the right action at the time because you might not have a full understanding of what you might not have processed this fully yet. Do you know how many times I would experience something or experience a person and they'll say certain things to me and then the moment it doesn't really feel right and I don't know why, but I was just like, okay, isolation. Let me you know, I gotta go be by myself to unpack that. And then I'll be like, this person was being shady. Or that was actually an underhanded compliment. Or that was actually very
Mhm.
kind. And I interpreted this, you know, anger as a reflection of me when it's really a reflection of them. And so I say that to say you know, also I want to say I'm not a victim of anything. And I experience people just like they experience me. And what I do with that experience and that interaction is within my control. No one controls my reaction to experiences. So I gotta be accountable for, you know, how I perceive things and whether or what I do with it. Because I don't have to internalize anything or any experience or anyone else's thoughts, opinions, anything like that. It's just information, you know?
Exactly.
And there's infinite
Well,
information
it's
out
easy to
there.
forget those things too
Mm-hmm.
at times,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we've been conditioned a certain way, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's things like as what you as you're talking and I'm I'm reflecting back on myself. There's certain aspects that I'm still trying to unlearn to
Mm-hmm.
this day, right? Because
It's a journey. It's
40
a
plus
journey.
years of triangulation does something to you. And then when you only
Mm-hmm.
recognize it when you're in your 40s, shit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it creates a pattern. And then undoing an action is not enough because you have to create new patterns to replace old ones. And that takes time. That's a process. You're not gonna get that overnight. You know,
No,
if you're receiving 20 years of a certain pattern, it may take 20 years to undo the pattern. You never know. 10 years, 5 years. You don't know and then that's okay as long as you're showing up to continue fighting the good fight, you know?
exactly. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
how I
I
think
always
about
use the
it.
same analogy, but I feel like this works for exactly what you're saying. The idea of a car going 100 miles per hour. You think you're gonna stomp on the brakes and that car go stop like because you said stop?
Mm-hmm.
No. And imagine now if you were riding a bike and then you suddenly decide I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna grab onto both handlebars at the both brakes at the same time. Child, you will fly over the handlebars that probably break your entire body. So it's the same thing
Mm-hmm.
of when you think about patterns of behavior, addiction even. It, it don't stop overnight. It takes work,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you said stop does not mean that it's going to stop right then and there. Like this is not we think cold turkey. Like no, it doesn't work that way. It just
If
doesn't.
it did, things would the world would look a lot different, but it's just not
It's the
realistic.
same thing when you're driving a car. You think if you stopped at the brakes, you stop right there. There's a
Mm-hmm.
reason why we have car accidents. Why you don't follow too closely or shouldn't because you know you ain't gonna stop as soon as you hit brake. Well, it's the same reason why you can't expect that a pattern that you're conscious of right now and you say stop. It ain't gonna stop because you said so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It takes time. It takes work. It takes showing up and doing different.
Practice.
That's right.
Practice. Your habits, how much energy and time you put into the thing. It's all about practice. Practice makes perfect.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with love. Like
Mm-hmm.
real love. Like not the fake kind of love that the world has been selling us all this time. No, we're talking about the actual real authentic understanding that we are fractals of this same one whole, right? So when we see ourselves as such, then we see each other as such, then we can treat each other as such. But that takes practice. You have to wake up and choose to do that every single day.
Mm-hmm. Showing
That's how
up.
you become it. That's integration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I,
And these
I
are
love
why
I
these
love that too.
tools
Oh,
help.
especially.
Like, I mean, I love, like I said, I love the way even the guidebook is laid out with, keywords, nuance. You have I gotta go back to the front to like for the example of for the different the subtitle slash definition. Then you have like the meaning, and then like you said, holding the card and all of like this is so in depth. Now, can we expect like an oracle deck, companion oracle deck, just like we have a companion Buddha oracle for the little Buddha tarot?
Oh, I would love to make a companion. I would have to, I don't know if Michelle, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay. I don't know if Michelle is like available, or if she wants to continue um drawing for the deck. Honestly, Michelle's art, I have to pause for a second. Michelle's art blows me away when it comes to her. Like, she is an amazing artist. And I mean, like, her art IQ, I call it an art IQ because if you can see writing and then have the ability to translate it into like a visual masterpiece, I think that's just such an underrated skill. So
Yeah.
I have to say this. I am so like thankful for Michelle doing the project with me and like illustrating the line art, like infinitely grateful because when I do have an idea, it's just like my mad scientist mind, like, oh, but what about this? This would be great. And then when she illustrated that first card, it was like, whoa, that's cool. That's really cool, actually. Yeah, let's do this, you know? So I'm like so grateful. for Michelle collaborating with me on this. This is like I'm so proud of like all my work, but this one is it hits different because it took the most effort. Like the brain power and kind of
Okay.
silencing my inner saboteur and like my writer's stage fright and all the things. So yeah, I'm super thankful for that. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you too. When I was watching your videos, I saw how you were deciphering the difference between all the extra cards because I just had a whole bunch of extra cards and particularly the nine of pentacles. I was like, do I pick the one with the spikes busting through the coins or the jewelry version? Do I go self-worth or self like when I get in that mode where I can't decide, I'm like, look, you're getting them all. You decide. You know, you pick. I'm gonna pick the one for me because my favorite one is the one with with the tentacles piercing the coins
Well,
because
I
that
love them
one to
all.
me, yeah, me too. That one to me, it just reminds me of how like money being the root of or greed, and it creates a lot of barriers in humanity, and how that
Mhm.
like that's not enough. Like, does that really bring the joy? And I had to learn that like on my own journey to like financial stability, being you know someone who has overcome like a certain level of generational homelessness and that kind of stuff. But I say all that to say there is a section in the book, section 12. It's called alternate expressions. I'm not sure if you've noticed that section, but it is toward the back of the book. And there it's a section where it helps you to decide which expression works best for your practice. And I had like put a bunch of information in there to kind of
Okay.
it kind of like names the difference between the card, and then also, just the guided transition versus like vulnerability for the death card, because I know the death card was something that stuck out to you. And girl, I was fighting back my tears watching that thing. I was like, oh, but yeah, later
I
on
was
if you get some
too,
time.
because it hit me like I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, yeah. So just check that section out because it does offer some insight. And I need to send an update for that on Kickstarter just to let everyone know that that resource is there if they're
Okay.
having like some trouble deciding, which expression do I go with. And then some if the card has a completely different art for it, like a whole separate artwork, like the tower. That's like two separate like the subtitle is the same, but the art expression is completely different. I will give it
Yeah.
a whole page. But if it's
Yeah,
something
I
subtle,
noticed that because I did read
mhm,
the two devils in
hmm.
the
But if it
video.
was
Yeah.
something subtle, like the temperance card, I didn't give that its own page because the only difference was like the integration with the backgrounds. Because you have like the split down the middle with, the night and then the day. And it's like, okay, that
Yeah.
doesn't really need its own page. It's more so about, integrated dual regulation versus just normal dual regulation. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to let you know that, and just in case you hadn't like noticed that part of the book yet. I mean, I know it's
No,
still
I
new, so.
did. So thank you. But
Mhm.
yeah, but even but and also I did you catch where I said that when you put all four of the pentacles together, the nine of pentacles, it
Yeah,
kind of makes a
yeah,
panorama.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
it's like standing, imagine standing in front of a mirror and you have like a three-way mirror. I don't know if you've seen, there's this guy on Instagram that he does a lot of like music takes, and he's
Hmm.
choreographing his lip syncing to in front of like a tri mirror. So it's
Hmm.
like, and he's playing along with the mirrors, like moving. So you're seeing him, himself back and forth,
Hmm.
singing the different parts and the backgrounds of songs. It's hilarious to watch. But I laugh at it because I myself have a tri mirror as well. And
Hmm.
I'll often too with my mirror work will sometimes take and look at the different versions of myself in the tri mirror. So it's like I'll be like making faces and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that reflection of myself is thinking. What is that reflection of myself is? Dude, it's a weird mind game thing. Like it just fascinates me to see myself at different angles all at the same
Hmm.
time. And then just
Hmm.
imagining, well, that isn't that who we are? Because even though we shed our skin as we grow, the essence of every version that we ever were still exists within us. It's right. The name, or not the name, the the what remains is the experiences, and we learn from them. We right, it's like information that's stored within our psyche, within ourselves.
Hmm.
We may shed the outer aspects of self as we grow, but the internal parts of ourselves still remain, and we
Hmm.
we use that now as information as we, move around, which is why it's important to do the healing work. Because if you don't, how do you heal the parts of ourselves that are stuck in trauma response from childhood, those juvenile
Hmm.
aspects of self that have been stuck because they've been traumatized? So
Hmm.
when situations come up that mimic or resemble, that's how we get our triggers, while we're triggered into certain, modes of reaction, because it's
Hmm.
the unhealed parts of ourselves that's responding, not the
Hmm.
actual person that's experiencing whatever moment we are in real time, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And so that's where, why the healing, why the introspection, all of this that we're doing, getting to know ourselves and our emotions, is so important.
Hmm. And that's technically that's what Jesus said people should be doing, but you know, apparently it's blasphemous to ask
Well,
certain
that's a whole
questions.
other thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, girl. Oh, another thing I want to tell you too. So, do these two characters remind you of anyone familiar? Oh, my background is on blur, but who's that remind you of?
Uh,
Have you seen the Addams Family?
I was gonna say that. Yes, yes. That Elvira, that looks like Elvira, and
Yeah,
um,
so
and the
I was
husband.
thinking of yeah, I was thinking of Morticia and like the
Okay.
Addams Family couple. So yeah, it reminds me like when I was making this deck, I don't know why. I was watching like Wednesday and I have other stuff. I usually have like other stuff going on in the background while I'm also creating.
Working.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a process. So like whatever I'm feeling or thinking at that time, I'm like, who embodies that Nine of Pentacles energy? It's Morticia Adams. She's that girl, okay?
You know
She
who
she
else that
is.
reminds me of?
Hmm.
You know who else that queen, or the queen,
Hmm.
on the Nine of Pentacles reminds me of?
So,
I'm sure you've seen this. Death Becomes Her. The movie Death
no.
Becomes Her, from way
Mm-mm.
back, like in the day,
I'm
with
I'm not familiar.
who
Let me
that's
look it up.
I think that's Goldie Hawn, and I think it's Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn.
Hmm. When did this come out?
Sometime in the 90s.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see her haircut. The woman with the dark hair and she has like a bob haircut.
I don't recall what the look of the poster is. Um,
Hmm.
but she's the woman with the big hole in her belly, in her stomach. Because
Hmm.
if you've ever seen the movie,
Pause. Okay, I'm gonna watch it. It's a comedy horror.
yes, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, you gotta check it out. Okay, so before we wrap up this, like, actually, I don't even know how long this video is going to be, but before we wrap up, I need to
Hmm.
talk about, again, because you were talking about guidebooks, and
Hmm.
and as you were talking about how long it took you to do the Mental Monsters guidebook, Now,
Mm-hmm.
as we've been talking, and you remember, and I told you what when I first fell in love with Push Kitty was when the Little Buddha Tarot came out. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember I backed the Kickstarter, girl, and then I was like, and the extra guidebook, the bigger guidebook, and then the guidebook never came.
Mm-hmm. It did. So
No.
I remember I refunded so many people because of my writer's stage fright with the guidebook. And I was like, look, this is my mistake because I told myself I could do this and I like wrote the book. It was there. I at one point like I'm like, okay, every time I wanted to put it out, all I could think about was the criticism. Like, oh, well, this isn't right. This isn't right. Because when you put out art, it's open for interpretation. But when you put
Mhm.
out writing, the words are there. So
Yeah.
it becomes more difficult to like you can interpret it, yes, but words have meaning, and so it is a commitment. And I was very nervous and just like fearful of like the community's reaction to my writing. When it comes to like art, like the concepts of the art, I could stand on that all day. Because it'll make sense to me. And it's like, wait, listen, I can stand on this. So I had to like really gather the courage and just like hey, look, I'm putting this out, the confidence, like, look, this is what it is. And if people have questions, just ask me. If I'm wrong about something, it is what it is. It's okay for me to be wrong about things, and I'll learn and I'll write better next time. So, yes, it
But
did.
that's life, right? That's
Yeah,
learning. You
yeah.
live and you
That's
learn.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good point because I was so afraid, especially as my first project, and I did receive a lot of backlash. Not a lot. I need to take that back. I received mostly a beautiful reaction. The very small, it was like maybe one or two people who gave me negative feedback about the little Buddha tarot. Was like, oh well, this isn't Buddhism, you're not Buddhist, and this and then this and that. And I'm like, you know uh the people pleasing aspect is like, I want this to work for everyone, and that's just not going to happen. So I
Yeah.
had to let that go too, like, yeah. Do
But
you have the little Buddha guidebook?
of course I do, because when I was waiting for the Kickstarter for the Mental Monsters, I was like, I'm no, they got the little Buddha guidebook is available. Yeah, yes, please add that. So of course,
Oh
and
my gosh.
girl, let me tell you how this is a long awaited. Like, oh my God, now my little Buddha collection is
You're so sweet. I was really proud of myself for actually going back and revisiting the Little Buddha guidebook since it was my first project. It kind of brought things full circle. And that was a personal thing where it's like, look, I can do this. And just because I was afraid of something at that time, once I was able to do more work on myself, and like I'm also learning and growing more as time passes. you know
yes,
the my personal progress is not linear. I'm still a human, like creating things, like especially with spiritual tools. It's like it just comes from this deep place of care. And I'm like, I have to extend the same care for myself. I want love and life for
yes.
everybody. And I'm so critical about myself and like my shortcomings and the things that I need to work on. So thank you so much for supporting Push Kitty and just like your trust, and even bringing up the Little Buddha guidebook like that girl. Oh my gosh, girl. You are just so warm. And when I tell you, when I finally put the Little Buddha guidebook out, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I actually like finally did it.
I was excited. I was when I finally realized that it was available, I was like, yes, because there it was like okay, so I guess this is how I realize my system works too. It's like,
Hmm.
and I'm recognizing and understanding the different parts of self, right? So I guess too, the whole thing of being a pattern, and I guess recognizing my neurodivergence and stuff is loops. So things like I get a very unsettled when loops don't get to finish. So like when I backed, and this is a me problem. This is not a you problem. But
Hmm.
when the campaign for the little Buddha tarot was out and I backed, happily go lucky, backed the project and I was like, oh, there's going to be a little guidebook and then we're going to have a bigger guidebook too. I get really excited for those things too. Like I'm just like, oh,
Hmm.
because right. So I'm like, oh, so anyway, so then I was like really excited. And afterwards, when we were learning that, oh, it wasn't gonna have a guidebook after like the bigger guidebook after all, I was like, oh. So there was almost like there was a piggy that was upset that the cycle wasn't complete. So it was almost like a piggy just stays there waiting, waiting. Like, no, we have to move on. We're no guidebook now. So just calm down, stop from the void, stop looking for the guidebook. It ain't coming right now.
The
Just be
piggy
happy
knew.
with what you have. So then, so that, and that's eventually I had to move on from it, right? But then finally, when I learned that there was so it was like that piggy that was like, see, I told you, I knew. So that piggy finally came home and said, see, there's a guidebook.
That is so precious. Oh my gosh.
It's finally closed and it's complete now. So
Yeah,
thank you.
girl, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. You
This is
know,
my own
it's so
nerdiness, you
funny.
know?
I do this work for people like you. Like literally, when I create in these spaces and the times when I feel like lonely and I feel like the rejection from like not being accepted for being different and like my individuality, all I could think about is like that yearning for like people like me because humans are wired for connection regardless
Yes.
of how we adapt to having it or not having it. And I have connections with like my family and like like my husband and my son and all the things. And but the part of me, the things that I find important, like my nerdy stuff and like my people, the people who were able to deconstruct like religion and who do the introspective work, those that's the community that I am working for. That's the community that I am serving. That's the part of myself that I am serving. And so
Yeah.
when I receive that feedback and I meet people like you, it just really like it's like confirmation and it lets me know that I'm aligned with my purpose. And so I'm so thankful to like meet you and have this conversation with you. Like I'm like, girl, I can't even put into words like how thankful I am. I'm always so thankful for like people who support Push Kitty because it's like I'm the only employee. But I do this work for us, like for people like you. Like literally.
Thank
So,
you. And you know what? It's people like you that just confirm for me the path that I'm on now, that it's like, yes, I am walking the right path. I am coming into alignment because the people that I was like,
hmm
they're there. They
hmm
are. They may be few and far between, but I am finding them. I found them with you. And so as I am, like all of my parts are just giddy headed, like celebrating, yay! And it's
Yeah,
literally a
me
party.
too.
I mean, It is literally a party because when I opened my latest Kickstarter and all the stars that fell out, and like I still have stars. I vacuumed, and yet there's still stars that shine every so often when I look at my
Aren't they so
phone.
ridiculous? The confetti. I do that purposefully, right? So I purposely dump the glitter in there because I know it's like woo, and it's like okay, shit. Now I gotta clean this up. Girl, I have glitter all over the place in my office.
That was
Glitter
when I was
everywhere.
like opening it. Okay, it was like celebration. You've seen trolls,
That's
right?
so funny. Oh my
You've
God. Yeah,
seen
I love
trolls, right?
Poppy. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah. And you know the part where the glitter celebrate good times, come on, and then the glitter just pops like me. That's what it was like opening my Kickstarter package, okay? Because like, damn it, now I have stars everywhere.
That is so funny. Oh my
You it
God.
up, and then I'm like, the star's still there. Why are you sucking it up? That it was like, and then it was like, then I hear people say, it wasn't meant to. It's supposed to stay there so that you're reminded every day about how stars align with one another. Okay, and your star aligning with your star clusters. I'm like, so I was like, oh, okay, so that's how you're putting it. Oh, okay, fine, fine. So the star can stay there on the floor then and just annoy the hell out of me.
My OCD is like, no, there needs to be nothing on the floor.
Exactly. How did
Mhm.
you know? Yes, I am OCD. I am diagnosed with OCD.
Girl.
So that I'm on medication for no less. Okay, so yeah. But things like these give my OCD a happy outlet to enjoy with, okay? When I get to shuffle the cards, read with them, and then when I'm not working with them anymore, I get to put them all back in chronological order. That's like my OCD's happy place. So I can
Oh
spend
yeah,
hours
same.
putting all the cards back together and putting it back. And then when I finally get to the point where I'm like, oh, everything's in its bag now. Okay, now I can zip it up closed and put it away. And then I'm like, oh yeah, everything is right in my little Buddha world again.
That's so sweet. Oh my gosh. I was thinking maybe we could do a quick activity. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, so in my I'm like this huge planner, right? And in my mind, I have like a whole bunch of like little activities to surprise you with, like, oh, we should do this and
Okay.
that. So I was thinking we could shuffle a card. I have my deck. This is my personal copy, and we could just both pull one card and just see what
Okay,
we
let's
get.
do it. Let's do it. Let's do
What do you
it.
think?
Yes, yes.
Wait, is that
Okay.
something we should do like outside of this video, or like does
No,
it work with the
no,
video?
let's do this to close it. Yes, pick a card for the collective. We'll both pick a card and see what comes up, and then we could even do like a duo collab reading on what we get
Yeah. Okay.
for the collective.
So,
I love that. Okay, let's do this. I
yay.
hope.
Okay,
Give
how
me
many
recipe.
do we pick one card?
You know what? Yeah, we'll pick one card each, but if you happen, if
Hmm.
like, a couple happen to fall out for you and you want to read from, then by all means,
I,
we'll
I
do
love
that.
the flexibility. My girl's like, look, it's just gonna be what it's gonna be.
Exactly.
Wait.
So let's see, what do we have for the collective today? What do we have? Okay.
Wow, a collaborative reading. I think this is my first time doing this.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I love the card that just came out.
Wait, I'm scared.
Okay.
Okay, wait, you pulled yours already?
I
Are
already
you
pulled
like
mine, so I'm just waiting for you.
ah? Okay, okay, okay. Okay, let's do this.
I didn't pull it, it fell out, so I
Oh,
get
grab
jumpers. I
mine.
take the jumpers.
Yeah, I love the jumpers. That's all I take is jumpers.
Yes, me
That's
too.
all I
Me
take.
too.
Because then I feel like, hey, I didn't pick it. It just came. So
Right?
it came
Exactly.
flying out.
Yeah. All right, what'd you get?
So I got the Ace of Pentacles. This is what just came flying out.
The Eight of Pentacles?
The Ace. Oh, it's upside down.
Oh, the Ace of
How do
Pentacles.
I need to take this blur off. How do I do that? Let's see. It's blur. No more blur. Yeah, Ace of Pentacles. I'll continue trying to get this effect off. I don't mind me. So what'd you get?
I got the Nine of Cups.
Oh, oh,
Validation.
I love the Nine of Cups.
Yes, and I love it because okay, so here this character is crying, happy
Hmm.
tears. Well, she's clutching her skates here.
Hmm.
And the idea of, all the trophies first, and stuff like that, and the first thing I thought of when I saw this is, um, again, it brings me back to that whole idea of self-reflection, seeing ourselves as sovereign beings, and as we see ourselves as sovereign, we can recognize the sovereignty in others, right? and
Hmm.
and so here I'm like, you know seeing and accepting of self as you are, and the joy that that brings, you know
Hmm.
crying happy tears because we've fullness, recognizing our fullness and divinity, right? And then you brought out the Ace of Pentacles, so offering that sense of divinity to another person. And aren't we honoring each other? Like,
Hmm.
there to me, that's you offering your pentacle, right? But look,
Like, hey,
I
look at
created a
this.
tarot deck. Look what I created. Here you go. Here you go. Do you like it? Do you see? That's matching my seed. It's a pentacle. And
That's so sweet.
here we have, now this is me, okay?
Hmm.
Clutching, well, for me here, the skates is, well, that's me clutching your offering, because how much I feel
Oh my
it's in
gosh.
alignment with everything that I feel I am on my journey, that everything that I've been working towards, the therapy and tarot, and combining that, how Mental Monsters is so in alignment with the work that I'm doing and what I hope to achieve in helping others to heal, and using it. So here, look, you like my pentacle? And here I am. Yes, I do. It's just so in alignment with me. And I'm joyous and happy, and I'm clutching your offering to my heart space. And I'm overfilled with joy because it's helping me to recognize my divinity, my wholeness, right? And appreciating the wholeness of you, and how what you have to offer from the wholeness of you is helping me to identify the wholeness within myself.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
part of
girl.
that healing journey. You, along with other creators that I've met along the way, as I've been I started this channel, and I've been on this journey, this divination healing rabbit hole journey of love and light. And it's so special that I can't help but have wonderful tears of joy in my eyes with a big ass
Oh,
smile on my face.
that's so sweet. Oh my gosh.
So that was you. That Ace of Pentacles is you, and this is the Nine of Cups now is me. So your Ace of Pentacles has now triggered the Nine of Cups in me. So,
That is such an incredibly
and to
sweet
me, this is,
interpretation.
well, and I feel like this is what we should all be striving for. Like, this is why we do what we do, right? Why the idea of understanding our existence, right? And coming into alignment and balance with our whole selves, the giver and taker energy of ourselves, and bringing that into a balanced alignment. Because when it's out of alignment, when the yin and the yang is out of balance, the give and take energy of life, even how we operate, the takers versus the givers in society, right? When those things are overbalanced, that's how we narcissism and people pleasing and all of that stuff, right? So we want to be emanating the Ace of Pentacles, and allowing that what we put out into the world is going to create this for someone else, like you've done for me today. Not just today, but in everything that you've created. But even taking the time today to even finally come and discuss your journey and your creativity with me. Because when I fell in love with you from the Buddha Tarot, I've been trying to get you to come and do a video with me all this time since then. And honestly, when you a few days ago, after I put out my mental monsters video, and then you came and you asked me, girl, Piggy came and said, yeah.
You are so precious. Oh my gosh. I said
I,
I owe her an interview. I gave her my word and I'm going to make good on it. Now is the time. I have time. I don't have any excuses. We're going to do this. So I wasn't even sure if you still wanted to do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, now is the perfect time. Like I literally just like was able to release this project that has been, because it's been in the works for years. This art has been completed for at least, I'm thinking at least 2 years. I could be wrong. I need to
wow,
double check. I need to double check the date for when
wow,
this deck was completed, but it's been
yeah.
some time, you know, and I was sitting there like, man, like this was completed before the Little Hermits. So,
Oh yeah, that's another deck I need.
and it was just the Hermits was just there. And it's like, okay, I really need to put this out. I need to get the book nailed down. So, like, first of all, you're so kind and just so warm. Oh my gosh, you're like the sun, just like feeding
Oh,
life into me. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to,
This is this is what you're doing to me right now.
girl, and vice versa. It's like mirroring. It really is.
Yes,
Because I
exactly.
feel that way too. And I think that I'm like an introvert, so I process a lot internally, and then I also always think about like my delivery, like saying this could trigger that, and saying this could, so it puts me in a space where I have to like pause before I don't have to, but I do. I pause before I say things, and
Yeah.
honestly, I'm just like blown away. I am flabbergasted, my girl. Thank you
Yes,
so much. I
same here.
really appreciate that.
Same here.
And
So
you
how
know,
about, let me ask you, what
mhm.
is the keyword on what's the keyword on your card again?
So mine is a seedling on the Ace of Pentacles. Oh, this blur. The blur. I don't know
Okay.
how I got this background like blur thingy on. I don't even
Oh
know how
yeah,
to
that's
take it
a
off.
setting that you've probably done, that you, when you go into your settings, you'll have
Hmm.
to, yeah. I'm just trying to see if I find it, because I want to double check the Girl, go through the guidebook now. What's wrong with you? Oh yeah. So trying to look for the card. Silliness.
Oh,
Um,
settings. Oh, voice and effects. Okay.
okay, so yeah, see, so yeah.
Let me go backgrounds.
So
No.
seedling,
Yay,
yeah. So
fix
planting.
it. Okay, it's gone.
Okay, there you go. So yeah,
Yay.
planting seeds. Exactly.
Mhm.
Planting seeds for validation or planting
Yes.
seeds of validation for each other,
Yes.
for one another. That's life's cycle. That's what we're meant here. That's what we're here meant to do. All of us. To plant seeds for all of us to be validated, to evolve, and to keep humanity going, to keep our existence going. We're farmers. We're to be farmers.
So let me tell you what I'm thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I came up with the concept for this Nine of Cups and selecting the keyword, it made me think about how it's the self-worth card. It's like the independence card. And when I
Mm-hmm.
think about those things, I think about things that can't be taken away from you. Because with independence, that's something that comes from you. And so I selected validation for for that card because a lot of times we look for feedback in the world to let us know like is what I'm doing, is this good? Is this valid? Is this enough? Am I making enough money? Am I good at because it's like Nine of Cups. Because it's like the wish fulfillment, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm jumbling the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles, so let me separate them. The emotional aspect of wish fulfillment is within, and sometimes the response to the monsters or the shadow and conditioning and programming, it puts us in a space where we begin to seek external validation when it comes to what wish fulfillment means to us. And it's like that's up to us for to define like what makes us feel like we've accomplished something or we've accomplished our dreams or or our dream has come true. And then also having to deal with external judgments and other people perceiving you and what your dreams are and what your wishes are. Because you might have someone that wishes like for what's a common wish that people wish for? $1 million. And it's like, is that really a good wish? Like, okay, and then you might have the person that has $1 million already. With the validation and like everything you said, it makes me think about all the things that you have accomplished because all these first place medals and trophies and there's like the little ballerina because I was in like I took a ballet class in high school. Our I went to a theater school for high school, so our gym was like performance classes where we had to like take ballet. That's a whole other story. But when it comes to that validation and then like what you said about accepting the offering, I really appreciate that because this 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 offering is just something that adds to just like the tremendous amount of things that you've already accomplished for yourself. Like you have all these accolades, all this intelligence, all this proof that you're on the right path. And then when you get that external validation, it just reaffirms you know, like all the things that you have within yourself. And sometimes when that external voice comes in, it may even challenge it may even challenge your wish or your dreams or the things that you find important. And then at that point, it's like, okay, it's up to me to decide whether I'm going to internalize that and let it come in between my dreams, or if I'm going to just shut it out and say, you know what, this right here, these skates, this is my talent. These are my trophies. I earned this, and this is something that no one can take away from me. So I really like the Nine of Cups, and I was really intentional about the emotion, like the happy tears, because sometimes crying gets a bad rep. Like
Yeah.
people, like I'll tell someone I cried about something, and they're like, "Oh," or they'll assume that I'm sad. I'm like, "No, I was actually really happy." Like there was one point where I would see like a cute baby, and I'm like fighting back my tears to not look weird. Like, why am I crying because I see a cute baby? And it's like, but this baby is so adorable. Oh my gosh, like sometimes I'll see my son and I'll like just cry because I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so precious. Look at you. You're so innocent. You're so vulnerable. And I just want to protect you and love you and hug you and you know, and all the
Hmm.
things. And then I feel like that about everyone like to say. And there are some people who I side eye them a little bit if they are a little far off the spectrum of like what I believe to be humanity.
Yeah.
But ultimately I do feel that way, and I want like the world to be a better place, and I want everyone to like love and have real joy and be able to be authentic and all those things. And it's like I try to offer that opportunity, and then sometimes it's like the idea of not knowing whether it will be received is scary. It's like, man, I just spent all this time on this thing. I don't even know if it's gonna go well. Because a lot of
Yeah.
times when I do my Kickstarters, I've already invested a tremendous amount of time and resources and energy and back and forth communication with Michelle and back and forth of editing and re-editing concepts and sharpening concepts, and wait, this doesn't work, we should try a new card, a new you know representation for this card. And I'm a visual person, so I visualize things a lot. And it's so funny that you pulled the Nine of Cups. That is so sweet. I'm a water sign. Are you a water? What's your sign?
Okay, so I am a Sun Virgo,
Mm-hmm.
Gemini moon baby. Oh Lord.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have so many damn piggies and they bounce around all the time. Okay, because I
Mm-hmm.
can go from catastrophic crying to suddenly, oh look, shiny, and then start laughing. Um, but yeah, and Libra rising.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cool. So that's
Yeah.
like Libra, is Libra air?
Libra's air, Gemini
Air.
air,
And then Virgo, earth.
and Virgo, yeah. But my
Very
North Node is
cool.
Cancer. My North Node is Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very interesting. My chart is severely lacking in air. So that's something that I have to I try to I have to put extra effort into covering those bases, because my chart is like lots of water and fire, and then there's like earth there too, but like air, it's not a whole lot of air aside from like I think I got a little bit of Aquarius, but it's one of those planets that move slow.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, I have a lot.
mhm.
I do have a lot of air in my chart, which is also probably why I fly so much in my dreams.
Mhm.
Big ideas, and I really do want world peace.
Yeah.
I realize that I do. I really do want world peace.
Yeah. But
You
I like
know,
your
and
reading
it's
style.
like, yeah, but here as the more that you're talking and I'm like looking and viewing the Nine of Cups more, like
Hmm.
I didn't notice before it's a little ballerina. Child, I was
Yeah.
in ballet class as a child, okay? I
Girl, now we both done did that, the ballet class.
Yeah, right?
Uh-huh.
I have, yes. And my mom is, and I know my mom, shout out to my mom who's gonna see this, and she's gonna be like, "See, I told you, I know every time I come over." And the pictures, because she changed some of my decorative pictures, and
Hmm.
there's I don't know if you can, if no, you can't see it. I would have to. Hold up. There's a
Oh
ballerina.
my,
You see a
stop
ballerina?
it. Stop.
You
Yes, stop it. Oh
That's
my
my mom.
gosh.
My mom did that because yes,
Wow.
okay. My mom, she found
Wow.
those pictures and then she was like, yes, and she's like, I just love it. Well, I used to ballet dance and I was yeah, so
Hmm.
and did jazz and tap and all of that. So yeah, so that and then the next thing that I noticed that I was like, oh my gosh, like this again, this is me. And I realized I'm recognizing it. Because sometimes when I braid my hair, when my hair gets messy and I need it's time for rebraiding, my fingers are constantly in my hair and I'm constantly
Hmm.
playing with it. So what I end up doing is twisting some of the braids into like corkscrews. So they look
Hmm.
like
And
this.
so
So my
Bantu
head looks like
knots.
this. So I have corks. Sometimes I end up with corkscrews in my head and I look like that.
That's so adorable. And
Sometimes
going,
what I end up saying it's like, and I'm like, why? Why am I doing this? Because I need to
mhm.
pick up the signal from the divine. That's what I end up telling myself. I'm putting up my antennas so that I can receive the signals.
Yeah, and going deeper into the symbolism, right? Ice skating, you're skating on frozen water. And when, me being a water sign, I think about the depths. When you think about the depths of the ocean and how sometimes society will, well, a lot of times, and lots of things will condition you to not explore your depth. And then, with the water being frozen and ice skating on top, it's like I'm still able to make something like it's like turning lemons into lemonade. It's like,
Yes,
oh yeah,
exactly.
you don't want me to access my depth. You don't want me to access my power. Watch this. I'm gonna do this
Yeah.
beautiful dance on this ice, and I'm gonna be the best at it. And I'm gonna earn all these accomplishments. And there's the ballet there, and there's first place here, and trophies there, and then there's a degree here. And it's just like a lot of
There's
little
like three
little
degrees in that photo from what I see. I see a
yeah.
degree here, I see a degree here, and I see a degree here, and then I see a whole bunch of awards and trophies. Yeah, man.
It's like little a lot of little gems like that go into these decks when I'm like conceptualizing them. And it's like, do I explain that in the guidebook? If I was to really sit there and explain every single thing that was in my mind or in my heart when I'm coming up with these concepts, the guidebook will be like a textbook. You know what I'm saying? And then I also don't
Probably.
want to have someone else's shape someone else's practice in that way. So I have to kind of like figure out that middle ground, like what to share, what not to share. But girl, if we have conversations about these cards, like there's so many, like even with the Ten of Cups, there's so much like with the commitment card. A lot of times people think like, oh, there, can you tell if the person's moving in or moving out? You can't really tell, you know?
It's
And that's
true.
the
It's
thing with
true.
commitment. It's things are uncertain. And so I guess that's, one of the biggest things like that is a part of life is like being comfortable with uncertainty, which sometimes gets lost in the tarot community because when you're pulling cards, you're looking for answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what happens when you don't get the answer, you know? So,
And not only that, and I think that that's, and just to close, but even when
mhm.
it comes to reading tarot, and the difference between introspection and then reading it for, because you want to predict, fortune telling and stuff like that. The thing is, when we fortune tell, these are projected outcomes, but if you're not in alignment with that projected outcome, it ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? So that's where to me, sometimes fortune telling can be misleading. And that's why I feel like why it's important about the introspection and using the tools of the trade for deeper understanding of self and the psyche, and really, I feel is where the to me the importance lies, is because we can fortune tell all we want, but unless we're in alignment and we've done the healing work and the shadow work to bring ourselves in alignment with said fortune, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't even believe too much in fortune telling. I think me personally, when I pull tarot, it's more so for the energy in that moment and like trajectory. Like, okay, this is the
Yeah,
energy right now, but people have free will. So that's when
exactly.
tarot and fortune telling becomes a slippery slope because, hey, you can make a decision tomorrow, take a wrong turn or a right turn, and everything will change. So it's like this
Exactly.
rippling effect where you can't fortune tell in that way, you know. Or you
There's nothing.
can. I can't tell anyone what they can't do. But just me personally, I feel like free will is always the center.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
We were
Well, that
given
was
free will, Katie.
great.
But yes, it was. So I want to thank you so much for this. And
Thank
like I said,
you.
all that you've created, the opportunity to talk to you fully and in depth. I'm like, I was like, yes. Like I was like I said, all my inner children were super excited, and we were just like, I don't even know how much I slept because all I could think, oh,
Oh, girl, it was a pleasure. It was a
yes, it
pleasure.
really was. It really
Yeah.
was.
And
And
we'll talk more too. We will
yes, we
talk
will.
more.
And I will, trust me, I'm going to be watching The Last Airbender today. Like that,
Yes, I
I,
look forward to your feedback along
I
the way.
will for sure, for sure. Absolutely. But I want to say, as I always say, I am love, and girl, so are you. So is everyone here.
Yes.
I see myself as human when I look in the mirror and appreciate all that I am. You best sure that when I look out into the world and to other people and meet and come across people like you, I know that you are loved too. So
Yes,
thank you
ma'am.
so, so much. And I want to remind everybody, to please take care of yourselves and one another. Be sure to help heal and support each other through the healing process, because this world, this world is something else that we live in, boy. But we're here to live, to listen, to learn, and to grow, and just appreciate all that life has to offer. So,
Yes.
as I say that, please don't forget about us too. Please be sure to check out all that Aimee from Push Kitty has to offer.
Oh,
Um,
you're so kind.
all of her decks are absolutely amazing, and I wish I could own them all, but slowly there's the few that are trickling in that I absolutely love, and I can't wait to see what more that you have coming, because I am fascinated by your brain. It's I can listen to you chat about your work all day long. I could listen and have like I sip margaritas and just sit and watch Last Airbender and all the cartoons and stuff together, and just contemplate the meaning of life. right? You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? I could do that.
Philosophy.
So yes. And yeah, you are such a beautiful light, and thank you for shining so bright.
Thank
And
you so much.
you're welcome. And thank
You're the best.
you. And thank you. So be sure to do all this stuff. Please comment down below. Be sure to follow Aimee over on Instagram. Comment, hit like, share, subscribe, all of the good stuff.
Yes.
And until next time, please always remember to check your privilege, mind your magic, and as always, live, listen, and learn. I love you all so, so much.
Period. Yes. Love
Bye,
you guys.
everybody.